are local. Las Vegas. Fox 5 News starts now.
Doctors at Sunrise Trauma Center are again warning about a sharp rise in serious e-bike and e-scooter crashes, especially with teenagers and young adults not wearing helmets. Last year, staff treated more than 250 people for e-bike and e-scooter crashes, but doctors have already seen more than 140 patients this year alone. That is more than half of all the patients from last year in just 3 months. Doctors say head injuries are a big concern, and they're urging families to make helmets mandatory every time someone rides. And new numbers from UMC back up those warnings. Last year, the hospital treated 212 patients hurt in e-bike or e-scooter crashes. 160 were adults, more than 50 were children younger than 17. Meantime, through the end of January this year, they've already seen 27 more patients. 7 of those were children. And last week, Nevada lawmakers kicked off a study which could influence future laws for e-bikes and e-scooters. Last fall, lawmakers passed a resolution commissioning the study on e-devices. It involves interviewing experts and analyzing e-device laws in other states. The results could influence rules on things like age and helmet requirements, training and education, where e-devices can be used, and fines for not following the law. Lawmakers say the results of that study could lead to a future bill in the next legislative session or even a special session. And we have also covered this growing trend extensively. I sat down with the Vice President of Trauma Services at Sunrise last year. You can watch our full conversation by installing the free Fox 5 Vegas Plus app on your smart TV.